Hello, hello. It is Amberly Forrester, and I am back for the self-regulation series of the Blooming with Intention curriculum. In this series of modules, we're going to be exploring self-regulation and learning ways to improve our self-control, to manage our energy, focus our energy in positive ways, to bounce back from the adversities we experience as a part of this thing called life. We're also going to explore ways to boost our achievement, better manage our time, how to get in the zone and create flow in our personal and professional lives. We're going to look into peak performance and ultimately learn ways that we can increase our ability to reach our full potential and flourish. Sounds good, right? Well, in order to do all of these things, we have to become more self-aware and create habits that serve us as we strive to achieve the vision that we have for ourselves. If we want to have good relationships with ourselves and others, we need to learn how to regulate our emotions, thoughts, and actions. What does success mean to you? When we think of success, some people only talk about the money and the material things. While money and material things are nice, what if you have them but you're not happy? Then you need more meaning and purpose and gratitude. What if you get them but you don't know how to keep them? Then you need more motivation and self-regulation. Now, what if you're successful but you don't have anyone to share and enjoy your successes with? Then you want to jump to our relationship series and check out the lessons we have there about creating high quality relationships. Ultimately, you're taking these courses because you want to, or maybe it's because you have to. But what I know is that you are becoming equipped with the tools to flourish. And flourishing equals happiness, success, and well-being in every area of our lives. When you're flourishing, you're living life to the fullest. You're well in your mind, your body, your spirit, relationships, and your career. What you do for a living matters to you and to others. You have more good days than bad when you're flourishing. You surround yourself with good people when you're flourishing, and you take good care of yourself. You're a positive influence in the spaces you occupy. You help and inspire others. And when you're flourishing, you're adept to riding the wave of life. You're at peace with the past and you're looking forward to the future. That's what success looks like and feels like to me. What about you? You can say, I want to be successful, but what does success look like when you're actually living it? There, you will find your vision. Then you can choose to focus on working towards your vision and bringing it to life. It's during this pursuit that we find true intrinsic motivation. When we are working towards our visions for what we want in our lives, we become motivated to do what it takes to get from where we are to where we want to be. If you're not completely satisfied with where you are in life, you have options. You have the choice to languish in your dissatisfaction and feel like a victim of your circumstances, or you can choose to leverage your strengths and make the most of your opportunities. You can choose to level up. This is Level Up, the first module in the self-regulation series. In this module, we're going to discuss self-regulation. In lesson 2, we're going to talk about how to become self-regulated. In lesson 3, we'll be talking about planning for success. That's strategic planning. It's not just for businesses, it's also for people. In lesson 4, we'll talk about prioritization, time management, and task management. And in lesson 5, we're going to talk about the habits for success and how to build and break habits. So how to build those good habits and break those bad habits. Sound good? All right, let's get to it. More about self-regulation. This is our intro to self-regulation. And guess what? It's time to level up. If you've watched our series on self-awareness, then you have awareness of the keys to growth, the mindset required to become more fulfilled, happier, and more successful, the importance of clarifying our vision, building on our strengths, finding meaning in why we do the things that we do, and learning to control our emotions. We talked about all of this in our self-awareness series. You've been guided to apply this knowledge in your life. You got access to a bunch of tools, assessments, reflective questions, personal and group exercises, videos, and resources. It's a lot of stuff. I hope you put them to good use. So, are you ready to level up and use what you got to get what you want? That's what the happiest and most successful of us do. We use what we got to get what we want. We do things on purpose. The Oxford Dictionary says that to level up is to increase something in order to remove a disparity. If you're watching this and you are from an underserved community, then you have experienced disparities. Great differences between the opportunities and options that well-served communities experience and what you may have grown up experiencing. I grew up in the underserved communities of Detroit, Michigan, downtown adjacent on the east side. Right outside of Detroit lies Oakland County, one of the wealthiest counties in the nation. There were many disparities, but what I learned was to use what I got to get what I want. I read countless books: Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich, The Power of Neuroplasticity, Atomic Habits, The One Thing. A few of these books we're going to talk about in this module. These books helped me to bridge the gap between where I was and where I wanted to be. I was using what I had, but I was also being very intentional about learning what I needed to learn to get to where I wanted to be. And you know what that took? It took a lot of self-regulation. It took a lot of discipline. So what is self-regulation? If you have ever talked yourself out of a bad mood or calmed yourself down when you were angry, you were displaying effective emotional self-regulation. Self-regulation is our ability to understand and manage our behavior and our reactions to feelings and all the things happening around us. It includes being able to regulate reactions to strong emotions like frustration, excitement, anger, and embarrassment. To calm down after something exciting or upsetting happens, and to be able to focus on a task. Self-regulation involves taking a pause between our feelings and our actions, taking the time to think things through, make a plan, and wait patiently when we need to. I always tell my son, patience is waiting without complaining. Some adults need to hear that too. It's easy to see how a lack of self-regulation can cause problems in life. Children often struggle with these behaviors, and adults may as well. As adults, we can pretty much do what we feel like doing as long as it's legal or we don't get caught. We're not going to get arrested if we don't show up for work. We're not going to get put on punishment if we don't clean our rooms. We are mostly under our own internal control. Children, on the contrary, are under more external control. They get told what to do by their parents, teachers, siblings, and whoever else is deemed to be in charge. Well, eventually we all have to learn to be in charge of ourselves if we want to flourish. We all need self-regulation. It's a vital skill. Well, I have good news for you. It's a buildable skill. You will likely learn some things that will serve you very well in this series. It's your choice to put them to use. Someone who has good emotional self-regulation has the ability to keep their emotions in check. They can resist impulsive behaviors that might worsen their situation, and they can cheer themselves up when they're feeling down. They have a flexible range of emotional and behavioral responses that are well matched to the demands of their environment. I love this definition because it's very aligned with what we've talked about in our past lessons. When we talk about emotional well-being, we talk about flexibility, being able to be flexible in our range of emotions and behavioral responses. That is key to our mental health and our emotional well-being. Well, we need self-regulation in good times and bad. When we get excited or triggered, our natural urge is to respond. But our responses are less likely to serve us in the long run if they are not well thought out. In order to think, we need time, right? That's why it's important to pause before we react. Self-regulation is how we make the decisions we make. It requires not only self-awareness and motivation, but also emotional intelligence and strategic decision making. I like to say that self-regulation is like playing cards. Have you ever played Uno or Spades or any other card game? You get the hand you're dealt. You have to analyze your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and then proceed mindfully with caution, but also confidence, right? Anyone knows that if you play cards without confidence, you're likely not to win. In cards, you got to play strategically. You got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. Know when to play your good cards and how to work with your bad cards. And you got to play to win. Winning in life is a lot like winning in cards. A big part of that is your self-regulation, learning how to manage your emotions and your behaviors along the way. The goal of most types of therapy is to improve an individual's ability to self-regulate and gain or regain a sense of control over one's behavior in life. In what areas do you seek to gain or regain control? Imagine what your life would look like if you had more self-control. You could accomplish more goals, overcome the urge to do things you know you shouldn't be doing, and avoid the regret of jumping the gun and saying and doing things that come back to haunt you. You would be trigger happy, as I like to call it. You'd be able to respond to your triggers, the thoughts and things that people say that trigger you, in a way that you're happy about when you look back and think about them. You would be satisfied with your decisions. Speaking of satisfaction, research shows that satisfaction leads to success and happiness. Do you know the happiness pie chart? The pie chart, originally proposed in a 2005 paper by researchers Sonia Lyubomirsky, Keenan M. Sheldon, and David Schade, painted a clear picture of what contributes to our well-being. The chart suggested the genes we got from our parents play a big role in how fulfilled and happy we feel. It suggests that our genes determine 50% of our happiness and life satisfaction. 50%. For a lot of people, that could be a really scary thought, especially those of us whose ancestors were oppressed and experienced traumas that were passed down from generation to generation. Generational trauma still haunts African American families and others who have experienced trauma to this day. So is the pie chart saying that we're doomed to fail? No, but it does recognize that things are going to be tougher and we've got to be more intentional with overcoming the traumas that have been passed down. This may be a tough pill to swallow. The life satisfaction pie chart inspired groundbreaking research over the last 15 years in positive psychology. Through research, it was discovered that it is possible to take deliberate steps to get happier and to stay happier in life. Despite our genetics, by engaging in healthy mental and physical habits, we can still exert a lot of control over our own happiness and satisfaction. That's right, intentional activities can counter what's passed down to us through our genes. Thanks to research, we have an understanding of what we can do to give ourselves the best chance of success. Here are some intentional activities researchers have found make a difference in our life satisfaction, happiness, and success. Choose activities that fit our personality and interest. Choose activities that are virtuous and meaningful rather than obsessing about feeling good all the time. Commit to and put effort into the process. Unsurprisingly, people who invest more effort in their new habits see greater improvements in their well-being. Another tip, add variety into your routine to keep your brain alive to the possibilities. We're going to talk more about habits in the last lesson of this module. But right now, let's talk about that other 10%. 40% of our happiness and satisfaction is attributed to our intentional activities. 50% is attributed to our genetics. So that leaves this other 10%. 10% of our happiness is attributed to our environment. This figure is based on studies mainly measuring demographics like age, income, education, race, and sex. So 10% of our happiness can be influenced by our environment. You know what that means? That it's essential to surround ourselves with good people and do our best to get ourselves into positive environments. The bottom line is that the behaviors and habits we engage in and the people and places we surround ourselves in do matter. Behaviors and habits like gratitude, kindness, and mindfulness can lead to an enduring happiness boost, not just fleeting happiness or temporary happiness. Now, there are some researchers and some folks who are going to dispute these numbers, these exact percentages. So I would not take them as the holy grail, but just being aware of them. Thanks to this research, we also have an understanding of what we can do to give ourselves the best chance of success. People can create for themselves a steady inflow of engaging, satisfying, connecting, and uplifting positive experiences, thereby increasing the likelihood that they remain in the upper range of their happiness potentials. This is a quote from Sheldon and Lyubomirsky. But like most good things, happiness and satisfaction don't always come easy. It's going to take work, dedication, and, you guessed it, self-regulation. In our next lesson, we'll talk about how to become more self-regulated.